So he was at the combine. We were standing there waiting for him to address the media. They had all the prospects. They would do them 4 at a time. And everyone was crowded around his podium. Jalen will not be speaking. There's an arrest warrant for him.
Mm-hmm.
He had to fly back to Athens in connection with a drag racing incident that killed 2 people. And so he never talked. But he did meet with certain teams, and he met with the Bears. He knew this was coming when he met with the Bears at the combine, among others, and never told them about it. So they flew him in yesterday. He's been in Chicago. And I believe he leaves today. Ryan Poles has a huge decision. Ryan Poles is not a Hall of Fame executive who's won 3 Super Bowls that can roll the dice and go, I'm going to take a shot on the talent and see if we can fix this kid. This is his first round pick of his career.
Correct.
If you're sitting there at 9 and this amazing talent's there, are you rolling the dice? Or are you going, no, I've got to take the sure, maybe not as high a ceiling, a much higher floor? Because if you bomb on this pick, that is a massive fail.
Along with being a great player with Georgia, he was sentenced to 12 months of probation, a $1,000 fine, and 80 hours of community service, and will attend state-approved defensive driving courses. His attorney, Kim Stevens, said that by resolving the matter, the state of Georgia is forever barred from bringing additional charges against Carter. Now, I thought that one of our better conversations that we've had over the last month is with you and I and our listeners, and again, without judgment, being judgment-free, asking whether or not you think the juice is worth the squeeze. Would you bring in Jalen Carter? Would you draft him based on what we know that happened in Athens, Georgia? Great conversation, because it's not about, well, look at this guy's past, look what happened, this guy was evasive with the police. It's up to the person individually. Do you feel that you can be able to straighten out this young man's life, help him with his life? Do you feel like you could step in, Cap, and just say, you know what? You went through this. You're a young person. Can you help him? Or do you turn a blind eye to him and say, I can't take the smoke. I can't deal with the media scrutiny of someone that was involved in this and put him in my program? It's a tough decision for some.
It's a really tough decision.
Mm-hmm.
And since I am that guy that always feels like I can help,
mm-hmm.
that's just my nature. That's how I was raised. I would want to be there to help him. However, when I sit in that draft room and I look at the board and I go, this is my first time I'm ever making a first-round pick. I can't miss here. I'm not in the room up there at Hallis when they're meeting. I'm not at dinner last night at wherever they went. From outside perspective, love your talent. I can't take that chance. I need a cornerstone player that I believe is a leader in the room. Like, they don't have an Urlacher, not just a talent, leadership. Olin Kreutz, not just the talent, leadership. They don't have those guys. So I need one of those. I need a future, boy, that guy's really good player, and he's a captain in that room. I can't take him based on what I know today.
Okay, so a couple of things with this. So he's a young man that clearly put himself in a bad spot.
Mm-hmm.
He does not have the wisdom of a 40, 50, 60-year-old to know, hey, man, I cannot be involved with this because I'm messing with the bag. I'm messing with the money being involved in this. I want to be true to the homies because I still want to hang around my friends. I don't want to make them think I'm too good for them, that I still can't hang out even though I'm going to the National Football League. That's a factor. The peer pressure, or feeling like I can't I know what you guys do, but now I'm in the NFL. I can't do. Well, Cap, that's easy for some to make that judgment and make that decision. Some cannot, though. In Jalen Carter's situation, he's there with his friends. And then that happens. 2 people die. Okay. So do you take that into account as an evaluator? Like, he's a young person that made a mistake, being around that. I mean, listen.
You do.
But again, you're not drafting some 30-year-old that's seen the world, or 35-year-old. You're drafting a kid. You're not going to have many leaders immediately coming out of that draft. Maybe one. If you get one, that's great. You might not get a whole bunch because you're drafting anywhere between a 21-year-old, 22, 23-year-old. So how much of life have they seen? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're saying that you can't afford to have that because you need leaders in the room. Okay, how many leaders you're getting out of this draft?
Well, where are you getting them otherwise?
It'd just be free agency. That's where, because the guys that at least they're adults, 25, 26, 27-year-olds.
Though, if you're not raised in the system to be the leader in the room. Like Olin Kreutz was drafted here.
Yeah.
Brian Urlacher, Peanut Tillman, Lance Briggs. Those guys were all draft picks. They all were part of building a culture for the Chicago Bears. And we don't have those guys. We do not have. Is there one?
Well, that's by design.
Justin, we hope.
That's by design. You level the franchise with young players because you're trying to build leaders.
Correct. So that's why I need to find those types of guys. I don't believe Jalen Carter is that guy. Wildly talented. And as a young executive, he's got to be super, super careful what he does here. Because I'll tell you a quick story. When I was scouting, I went down to meet with a kid. This kid this was when I was running the 6'4" and under league team. This kid was kicked out of the NBA for cocaine. I went down and had dinner with him, sat and talked for 3 hours. Coach, it was a one-time thing, and somebody told NBA security, and they got me, and I got kicked out, and it will never, ever happen again. Well, I was 28 years old, in a job that most of the guys I was competing against are in their 40s and 50s. I trusted him. Met with him 5 different times. Okay, we're going to do it. You have to test. No problem, coach. And he was the best player on our team. It wasn't close. We're going on a road trip. He's got a test coming up. And I'm not going to travel with the team. I'm going to meet them on the road. And I get a call from our trainer. I'll never forget it. It was a Friday about 4:00. First, the kid calls me. Coach, I'm running late for the flight. I can't go to the test. Can I just do it when I get back? Now I know he's been using. I know it. No, you cannot get on that plane without the test. He goes and tests right by O'Hare. Flight goes Chicago, Seattle, Calgary. In Seattle, I get a call from our trainer. We got a big problem. He's off the charts for cocaine. Off the charts. I get a flight. I walk into practice the next day. They're in Calgary. I walk in. He doesn't even know why I'm there. He walks right off the court. Coach, that test can't be right. How do you know why I'm here? We retest him there. The Olympic Testing Center was there because the Olympics were there in '88.
Yeah.
He's higher.
Higher than the first list. Yeah.
And I released him.
Yeah. Higher than the last test.
And he pleaded, don't release me. Please, I'm not using it. Must be a supplement I'm taking. No. And he ended up going into rehab eventually and admitting it. Boy, oh boy, man. It's really tempting to look at Jalen Carter's abilities and go, we can fix him. We've got the support system.
Yeah. You know how you coaches are. You gave a perfect example of coaches saying, I can fix him.
I believed I could fix that guy.
Yeah.
And I won't throw his name out there. He's a well-known player. Ryan Poles is going to look at that kid go, oh, my God. He's 6'5", 6'6", 320. He's got all this talent. He's 21. I can mold him into the next Aaron Donald. And if he lets you down,
it's on you.
It's on you.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think he'll do it. I don't.
Yeah. Just going by the quotes, and we heard quotes earlier from Poles.
Like the combine, it's a collection of information. We got some there. We got more, at the pro day. We'll bring him in and talk to him and get to know him even better. And in some point in mid-April, we'll sit down and put it all on the table and see how we want to handle it.
So here we are, and he's going to sit down. This will be the second time that they've talked to him.
They did yesterday.
Okay. So, I look at it like this. If you don't feel like he's the right guy for you, and he works out for Detroit or some other team or Seattle, you tip your cap, because it's your evaluation. If you feel like it's too much smoke, you don't think that this young man will straighten up, and you feel like he can't get his life together after the incident that happened in Athens, then I totally understand it. But Drew Rosenhaus's agent says, I'm confident Jalen will go in the top 10. He's a good person, a good family man, loves football, and is a generational talent. That's from Rosenhaus. So, Cap.
And the fact that he hired a sharp guy like Drew Rosenhaus.
Yeah.
Did he have Drew Rosenhaus when he went to the combine? I did not hear Drew's name at all.
I don't think so.
I think he hired
Yes,
him
he
after
did.
it.
He did. Drew Rosenhaus was his agent at the combine.
He was.
We did not hear that name at the combine.
Not at all.
No, he was. We looked into it when he left. It was after we were off the air during crosstalk with Bleck and Abdallah. We looked into his agent after he left the facility, and it was Drew Rosenhaus at that time.
All I know, I will just tell you, Cap, as someone that watches every Georgia game as a Georgia fan, I know the talent. That incident, though, will that hold him back from being a great NFL player? The hope is it won't. The hope is that he can learn from what happened with those two people passing away. This goes two ways, as you well know.
Yeah.
This can break you through this and be like, you know what? I'm going to be a great player. I know what happened, but I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to be a great citizen. You don't have to worry about me anymore.
Or you never recover from it.
Or it goes the other way, where you find yourself in more trouble.